Welcome into Pigskin Perspectives. As they say, nothing ever lasts forever. We are halfway through the NFL season. We're more than halfway through the college football season. We got to enjoy every moment while it lasts because nothing ever lasts forever. And here we go into another football weekend. Let me tell you, the college football slate this weekend is absolutely outstanding. Me trying to limit this to only 6 games was very, very, very difficult. I think I said a few weeks ago, could have been a 12-pack. It could have been a 24-pack this week, honestly. There are so many good games out there this weekend that I feel like have an intriguing factor in it that I could have went into those. We're obviously going to get to everything that's happening in the NFL. I might touch on Jim Harbaugh because this thing is taking a turn and I don't know where we're going, but I sure know where it's been. Let's start with my 6-pack for the weekend, which might be one of the best 6-packs I've put out. But that's, of course, thanks to the scheduling of all these conferences. It's not like I decided when these games get played. I merely just chose them. And then obviously when we get to NFL, I'll explain this jersey I'm wearing tonight. So let's get to college football. We're going to start out big noon kickoff. It is number 23 Kansas State facing off against number 7 Texas. Now, do I think this has the potential to be on blowout alert? Yes, I do. I do think there's a potential that Texas just comes out here and annihilates Kansas State. Now, Kansas State also, they're a very good football team. 2 losses on the year, I believe. But this team is very good and very sneaky good. We saw Texas last week almost lose to Houston. This Kansas State team is better than Houston. Now, of course, this is going to be at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin instead of in Manhattan, Kansas at Bill Snyder Family Stadium or something like that. If this game was in Manhattan, I 100% think Kansas State has a real shot to win this game, but since it's not, it's less of a shot, but I feel like they can put Texas on upset alert here. We stay in the Big 12, at least the Big 12 for now. The final edition for now and probably for the foreseeable future of Bedlam. It is number 9 Oklahoma traveling to Stillwater to face off against number 22 Oklahoma State. Like I said, for now, the final meeting between these two schools, most likely the final time for a long time, given how non-conference schedules are scheduled. So this is going to be quite the game. Oklahoma State had its rough patch to start the year. They lost to South Alabama like 38-0. But that seemed to be the turning point of the year. They really haven't looked back since then. They're now, I believe, 6-2 if I'm correct. And if they win this game, they control their own destiny to Arlington for the Big 12 title game. And I think they just got off to a slow start. I think that they are much better than what they were at the beginning of the year. Oklahoma coming off that loss to Kansas, how are they going to come into this game? Obviously, emotion's going to be high. These two in-state rivals. There's a chance Oklahoma State pulls this off, and I think it's above 50%, I think. I know Oklahoma's coming off the loss. They got that bad taste in their mouth. They're going to want to get a win here to get that taste out. But sometimes losing once starts to a snowball effect. And then it just you end up looking and you're already at 3 losses. I think Oklahoma State has a real shot in this game, the 3:30 game on ABC. Moving down, we got a packed night slate. First, we go into a game in the Big 12, Pac-12. This game most likely is deciding one of the teams that's going to head to Las Vegas for the Pac-12 title game. It is number 5, Washington, traveling down to the Coliseum to face off against USC in a future Big Ten matchup. The Big Ten schedule got released today. That was some news, obviously. We already knew the matchup, so nothing truly to report there, except, people were worried about USC playing in the snow. They don't travel to the Eastern time zone, I think, past October, so it doesn't really matter. But Washington travels to the Coliseum to face off against USC. A battle of Heisman hopefuls, even though Caleb Williams kind of took a step back in that Heisman race. This is going to be an outstanding game, I can tell you that. I think both teams are going to put up a lot of points because both defenses aren't good, especially USC's, since they, gave up 49 to Cal last week. A Cal team that's playing Oregon this week at Autzen Stadium. Didn't make the cut for the six-pack, though, so sorry. I'm really excited by this game. Like I said, it has the feelings of a elimination type game for the Pac-12, especially since there's no more divisions. This has elimination feeling to it. Even though Washington still technically would be in control because that would be their first Pac-12 loss of the season. Given the way they've played the past 2 weeks, I feel like if they lose this game, it's going to spiral into losing another game. So the cannibalism of the Pac-12 is slowly happening. I do think Washington comes out alive here. But also, I can see a scenario where USC backs against the wall. They know it's over if they don't win this game. I can see USC putting a backs against the wall type performance up and getting a victory here, especially since it's at the Coliseum. I don't know if the Coliseum's going to be rocking. I don't know what the turnout would be like for this game. I would expect it to be a decent turnout, but I mean, USC and LA fans in general are fickle and they won't show up even if you're a perennial good team. They only show up for great teams. So this is going to be an outstanding game to watch. And to go along with that, we got a kickoff 15 minutes later in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It is number 14 LSU versus number 8 Alabama. What a game this is going to be. What a treat. LSU trying to become the first team. I know the Jalen Daniels stat is he's looking to become the first quarterback to defeat Nick Saban in back-to-back games since Drew Brees in 98-99 when he was at Purdue and Nick Saban was at Michigan State. That is an incredible stat there. It just shows how consistent Nick Saban has been. And obviously they obviously lost last year to LSU. If LSU makes it 2 in a row against Alabama, that would be something, especially with one of those wins obviously being in Tuscaloosa. That's huge. That is absolutely huge if they get a victory in this one. I don't think they're going to pull it off, though. Their defense can't stop anybody. And even though Jalen Milroe isn't the best quarterback in the world, he can tear up this LSU defense. And that's kind of what I'm expecting in this game, but I do expect LSU to keep it close. But it's roll, Tide, roll, baby. I think the Tide win this one. Moving on to 10 o'clock window, you have a Oregon State team that lost last week on the road to Arizona by 3 points. They fall to number 16. They're traveling to Boulder to face off against Colorado, a team that is, I don't know. They're not good, but they're not bad. They're average at best. And even I feel like it's a team falling apart right now, just kind of unraveling at the seams. I would expect Oregon State to win this one. They have the better team. But if Oregon State starts slipping up in this game and they find themselves in a losing position, this very much does feel like the downward spiral of the Beavers, and then they end up finishing 8-4. And it would suck if that would happen, but I want them right now. I want Oregon State, Washington State, given that they don't have anywhere next year. They just need to go down fighting against these teams. And if Oregon State goes into Autzen at 10-1, and Oregon is 10-1, and that game is basically for a spot in the Pac-12 title, that would be an absolutely legendary game. But I expect Oregon State to get the victory here. But if they don't, it's the start of a downward spiral. And then we move to 10:30, a game or a team that I just talked about. They beat Oregon State last week, is Arizona. They've been very much a trap team for teams this year. They are playing an interesting style of football that just seems to boggle the mind of other teams. This week's opponent is UCLA. It's in Arizona, or it's in Tucson, I should say, which is still technically Arizona. I'm expecting Arizona to win this game. I feel like they finally turned a corner as a program and they're starting to progress back up. It really does suck that the Pac-12 is gone after this year, because I think that they could be Pac-12 contenders in the near future. But going to the Big 12, I just don't see it happening. This is going to be another fun game like it was last week against the Beavers. And I'm expecting some wild things to happen. But I think Arizona comes out with the victory in this one. So like I said, I do want to take a moment to talk about the fire that is burning in Ann Arbor right now. This thing keeps taking turns and turns and turns and turns. And I really don't know where this is going to end up. So obviously it's the whole sign stealing investigation. The head of it, Connor Stallions, he was an analyst, was in the Navy or Marines, one of the two, goes to games and has a network of people that go to games, and they film the sidelines and they get the signs from that. Michigan knows what's happening. Stallion stands on the sidelines, gives plays to the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and Michigan then wins games. Well, obviously Harbaugh had nothing to do with it, all that fun stuff. Well, one of the latest developments is that Mr. Stallions was apparently on the sidelines, dressed up as a coach on the Central Michigan sidelines for their game, their Week 1 game in Spartan Stadium against Michigan State. They're pretty interesting to me. This figure that very much looks like Mr. Stallions was wearing all, team-issued Central Michigan gear. He had on a official pass, like you would have to be as a coach. He was wearing sunglasses, even though this game kicked off at 7 p.m. These sunglasses had a little light on the top of them, indicating these potentially are glasses that have a camera in them, which are very real things. If you go look them up on the internet, they are Ray-Bans that have a tiny camera drilled right into them, right about in this area. And, everything's team-issued apparel that he's wearing, except his shoes, which is a big indicator here, because Central Michigan is an Adidas school, and team and brand contracts very specific on what you can wear. Well, this mystery gentleman was wearing Nike shoes instead of Adidas shoes, which says something. Central Michigan opened up an investigation on Tuesday night. We sit here on Thursday night, and we don't have a result. You would think if this was just some Central Michigan staffer on the sidelines, it would have been a pretty clear-cut answer who this person was. So, given we are more than 48 hours past when this investigation started, it's becoming pretty obvious that this was Mr. Stalions on the sideline, and somehow he got there. Obviously, there's got to be an investigation to go on at Michigan State. Obviously, that has to figure out what happened here. How did this man get on the sidelines even though he wasn't an official coach? Who knows? I don't know where this is ending, because last night there was apparently a 90-minute coaches call with the commissioner of the Big Ten, with all the Big Ten coaches except Harbaugh on the call. They want punishment because it's affecting the integrity of the game, which is 100% true. The 80s now had a call with the Big Ten commissioner this afternoon. Nothing has come out yet about that meeting. I'm sure it was much of the same. I don't know where this is going. I don't think Michigan's going to end up getting punished because the NCAA moves too slow. The College Football Playoff Committee already said, hey, this is not our problem. This is the NCAA's problem, which I don't agree with. This is a football problem. This is clearly what it is. And I honestly don't know where this was going. There were reports on Sunday night that a contract extension with Jim Harbaugh had been halted. A contract that was supposed to be signed back in January, but kept rolling down the road, and nobody's saying anything about it. And then it pops up in September. He's signing that extension soon. Then we get here, that contract extension now is off the table maybe. And then you get other reports from Michigan insiders saying, no, the contract's being expedited now. And what does that even mean? You have the president going to practice and taking pictures with the team. I don't know. I don't know where this is going. This is one of the biggest scandals, I think, in college football history. I truly don't know what road this is headed down. Michigan still has their biggest games ahead of them. They could lose both of them, and this could be obsolete because they won't be in the playoff conversation. I think that's one of the biggest reasons they're such a huge talking point right now, is because they're in the hunt for a national title, and they are probably one of the favorites to win it right now. I don't know where this is headed. And it's really saying something that Jim McElwain, the head coach of Central Michigan, has spoken more on this than the commissioner of the Big Ten, Tony Petitti, Ward Manuel, the athletic director at Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, any of those people. They've barely said a word on it. Also, here's the real question. It's been almost 2 weeks now since this whole thing broke. It actually might be 2 weeks ago to the day. Where is Connor Stalions? How has the media, big or small, not found this man? Where has he gone? Has he gone into the witness protection program? This dude has disappeared off the face of the earth. How has this man not come out and said, I didn't cheat. I did not cheat. How did this not come? Where is he? That is the question I'm asking tonight. Where is Connor Stalions? That's truly what I want to know. I think that is enough on the Michigan subject, because this could go on forever. But if anybody has the whereabouts of Connor Stalions, please get him to somebody, because I would like a comment from him or anybody related to this in the Ann Arbor offices of the University of Michigan. Where are the people? Where are they? That's all I'm asking. So let's move on to the NFL. Titans and Steelers playing right now as this is recorded. Who knows? These two teams are bad. they both have black magic, it seems, to win them games. Given that this is in Pittsburgh, I expect the Steelers to somehow fluke into a win in this one. So we move on to Sunday. The Dolphins and Chiefs. A game that people have been salivating for. And I got to be honest, I am one of those. This should be an outstanding game. You might be saying, 9:30 kickoff. We must be in London. No, we are not in London. We are in Frankfurt, Germany, for another edition of the German games, or I don't know what the NFL calls it. I think it's the German games because last year it was in Munich and now it's in Frankfurt. Well, Frankfurt and the NFL have quite the history. We now get to this. Frankfurt Galaxy, NFL Europe. Yes, the NFL was in Europe at one point. From the early 90s with the World League of American Football or something like that. That wasn't run by the NFL. But then a fun little thing called NFL Europe came around they bought the World League of American Football in 1998, rebranded it as the NFL Europe League, ended up being NFL Europe at the very end. Lasted until 2007, Frankfurt Galaxy. One of the most successful franchises in the NFL Europe history. They won 4 World Bowls, which is their Super Bowl. They won it in 95, 99, 03, and 06. They also made it to 4 other World Bowls and lost. They lost in 96, 98, 04, and the final one in 07. The final one in 07, I believe, was at this stadium we will be playing at on Sunday, the Deutsche Bank Park, which is the Waldstadion without naming rights. In the final World Bowl, they did lose to the Hamburg Sea Devils. These are just random facts I'm putting out here. But I'm just saying, the NFL and Frankfurt have large history. It's going to be great to see the game back in Frankfurt. And they get 2 great teams. This should be an entertaining matchup. I know the Dolphins kind of got put on fraud watch after they lost to the Eagles. This is very much another opportunity to put them on fraud watch because it's another good team and they could lose it. But the Chiefs haven't been playing their best. I got to be honest. They have not been playing their best. And I do think this is an opportunity for the Dolphins to get a victory in this one. The Cardinals traveled to Cleveland to face off against the Browns. The biggest talk about the Browns is who's going to start at quarterback, because who knows? Deshaun Watson still might be injured. I don't know. He doesn't know. Kevin Stefanski doesn't know. Nobody knows. It could be PJ Walker. It could be Deshaun Watson. On the other side, it could be Clayton Tune. It could be Kyler Murray. This game's going to get ugly. It just has the feelings of it. It's going to be an ugly Cleveland game at the beginning of November. Winds starting to shift. The autumn wind starts to blow off the Lake Erie. You get a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust, and it starts to feel like 20. That's football right there. The Vikings, the Kirk Cousins-less Vikings, now led by Joshua Dobbs, head to Atlanta to face off against the Falcons with Taylor Heineke starting at quarterback because Desmond Ridder has been benched. I don't know. I feel like the next 4 games are all going to be ugly games. I'm going to be honest there, and I don't really have much say on them. So, I mean, the Rams go to Lambeau to face off against the Packers. The Commanders go to Foxborough to face off against the Patriots. The Bears travel to the Superdome to face off against the Saints. All of these games have that feeling of ugliness. And it's just going to be like a 21-13 victory, and there's going to be like 4 turnovers in each game, 2 on both sides. It's going to get ugly. It's going to be an ugly weekend of NFL football, it feels like. But to save us, the Seahawks and the Ravens face off in the 1 o'clock window. This should be an entertaining game. The Seahawks, coming off that come-from-behind victory against the Browns, travel to Baltimore to face off against the Ravens team that's looking pretty good right now. I expect the Ravens to come away with the victory in this one, but like I said, it could stay close. And given that, if this is a close game, I give the Seahawks the upper hand. But if a team's just going to go out there and dominate, it's going to be the Ravens. The Buccaneers traveled to Houston to face off against the Texans. The Texans coming off that loss against the then winless Carolina Panthers. The Buccaneers aren't that good. The Texans aren't that good either. But I think this is going to be a weirdly entertaining game just because both teams aren't that great. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. The Colts traveled to Carolina to face off against the now one-win Panthers. This would have been a battle between the number 1 and number 4 overall pick if Anthony Richardson wasn't out for the year. Instead, it's Gardner Minshew against Bryce Young. This is a game the Colts should win, so I expect them to get the victory here. Giants travel to Las Vegas to face off against the Raiders. The Raiders fired Josh McDaniels and their general manager on Wednesday. So yesterday, feels like longer ago. I expect the Giants to win because of that. Well, actually, no, I expect the Raiders to win because of that, because for some reason, they'll get a new coach bump and somehow win this game. Game of the week is Cowboys-Eagles, two of the better teams in football right now, even though I think the Cowboys are frauds. I really like this game. It should be entertaining start to finish. Sunday Night Football, we have the Bills traveling to Cincinnati to face off against the Bengals. We all know the last thing that happened when these two teams faced off in Cincinnati. Hopefully that doesn't happen again and we get an actual game. And then on Monday Night Football, you have the Chargers facing off against the Jets, a game I don't think anybody's going to want to watch because I don't think either team are that good. But we put them on Monday night, and Monday night, I believe, has the flex now, and we aren't using it. So I don't know. I think the flex is fake because I really do think the flex is fake because nobody's using it this year. The buys are the Lions, the Broncos, the 49ers, and the Jaguars. They will all return to action next week. And that is your football preview. Plus a little bit of history thrown in there. Maybe you didn't know about NFL Europe. So hopefully you enjoyed this preview video. Thank you so much for watching. If you just found this channel, hit like, hit subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. And we will be back on Tuesday for a recap of all these games for another episode of Pigskin Perspectives.